Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning. Got the old farts lunch today. Farts, P-H-A-R-T-Z. It's 9:30 in the morning. I'm going to spend about an hour working on Fred. I've got all the leftover nuts and bolts over here laying out by size. This is not a disaster. This is not a bad thing. Basically, you take off, on these old bikes, you take a whole bunch of stuff off that's just wrong. And you toss it in the just wrong box. And then when you get to the point where I am now, which is basically ready to start hanging the electrics and the exhaust system and then the gas tank for a first start, and the battery, you lay these things out in little groups of similar items just in case you run across a need for one of them. But basically, this stuff is unknown at this point in time. Plugs, wires are there. Here are the coils. Now, I don't know if you know, but these coils tend to be damaged. See this crease right here? That's because this coil holder is too small. It was made too small, is too small, installed too small, holds the coils too tight and damages them. It can actually cause the coil to short out internally. So if the coil is still good and you want to reuse it, you put this together like so, one-handed, okay? And then when you put the bolt through it like so, what you do is you put two washers in here. Let me zoom in and show you a little bit. You put two small washers in here so that it doesn't tighten down as tightly as it would without the washers. And that stops this from getting any worse. And if you have one that's not damaged, it stops it from being damaged. Okay, so I'm going to put these coils in place. And then I'm going to hang the exhaust system, and then we'll go from there. And the oil lines, I've got the oil lines up here. This is an interesting, I tend to put nuts and bolts and bits and pieces in the hole where they came out from. That way you don't have to search for them. So these are just sitting here waiting for me to put the oil lines on. Okay? So let's see how we do today and how much I get done before I have to go to lunch. Well, let's see. It's about 10:20. Old Fart's lunch is at 11:15. I'll leave here around, sometime after 11. So I have a better part of an hour. Maybe I'll hang the exhaust system. I've got the electrical all installed up here. That looks good. And I put the head oil lines on. And I think I'll hang the exhaust system on the bike right now. So let's see. Nothing over here that's overt. We'll see what happens when I take a look at the exhaust system. Here are my two bikes sitting there sleeping. And the gold bike waiting on decisions to be made. And here's the exhaust system. I cleaned it all up before I put it over here. So I'm going to put that onto Fred and see if I can do it before lunch. Well, I'm on the cusp of starting the bike. The carbonizers are on, the sparkler plugs are right here hanging out in the wind, the electronics is mounted, exhaust system is mounted and tight, batteries installed. I have, at this point, a live bike. So I'm going to turn the ignition on and check the electrical system, of which I've already done, but I'll do it for demonstration purposes. Got a horn, got left turn here, left turn down here. Let's go up here and get right turn up here, of which we have right turn and right turn. We should have brake. Now let's double check brake light. So let's turn that turn signal off. Got an idiot light going up here with the turn signal. Okay, let's turn that off. High beam, low beam. Nope, I don't have lights on yet. Sorry. Engine run, stop, and the starter. Let's hit the starter and check out the sparkles. Let's see. Where are they? Okay. I expect you can see that. Let's zoom in on this one. Oh, good sparkles. All right, so no reason why the bike shouldn't run. The bike was running before we tore it down. Just remember, it had terrible internal opportunities for excellence, shall we say. And let's see if the brake light is still working. Yep, okay, good. And down here, yep, good. And we have tail light, yep, and headlight, and high beam and low beam. Let's check that. Yep, so we have a completely operational motorcycle ready to be started. So I'm going to run my ICU unit over here, my remote gas tank, over to the bike and hook it up and see if we can get her to fire. Get her done. All right, so let's see what happens. Well, we're about to make history here. I've got the bike complete enough to run. Oil's in it. I cleaned the pilot jets, adjusted them to an initial setting. Checked the spark already. I got good spark. I think I showed you that in the last video. All electrical systems are working, and all I need to do is go over there and turn the ignition on and press the magic button. Here's the ICU right over here with the remote gas tank up there on the side, and it has its own valve and its own filter. So I've got that giving the bike go juice, and I'm going to go over there and let's see, I want to be able to see me. Okay, you should be able to see the explosion from here, okay? Anyway, here it goes. I'm going to go turn the ignition on and give her a spin and see what happens. Trying, but it doesn't quite want to go. Let's try. Well, first of all, the battery's probably down. It's not cranking as well as I'd like. Let's try a little choke and see what happens. It's trying. I'm going to count that as being an almost, and I'm going to do a little more checking. I'll check the ignition timing. This was a running bike, remember that. So I'm going to charge the battery, get a better charge, and try it again. I think I'll just put the charger on the battery and let it sit for a few hours, and then try to do the start over again, because it's trying. It wants to go, but it doesn't. Not quite yet. All right, so let's call that good. Well, I'm heading out to get a clamp for the bike, and I noticed that this was under it. Oh my, look. So I looked up, followed it up, and followed it right to here, right underneath that valve cover, and then I followed that right to here, and it looks like I've got a leak coming out of this rocker shaft. So, something to address before I make my next start attempt. It's always something.